This is going to be a demonstration for drawing 2-3. This is what it's going to look like when we're completed. Up in the top left corner, it's kind of like we have quadrants, right? If our page was split in half, both vertically and horizontally, we have 4 quadrants that we're working on. Top left corner, it says lines with ortho turned on and off. If you remember, the ortho button down in the bottom right-hand corner only allows us to make vertical and horizontal lines. That would be ortho turned on. If we have ortho turned off, then we can see that we can draw angled lines. Top right corner, it says we're going to draw a circle and an arc with a line and points at the centers. So we're going to draw a circle and an arc, same size, same radius, circle and arc, a line between centers. Bottom left corner, we're going to do an inscribed and a circumscribed polygon. Well, an inscribed means that a polygon is drawn inside a circle. That's inscribed. And a circumscribed means it's drawn around the circumference of the circle. That's circumscribed. Here we have a 5-sided polygon, a pentagon, and here we have a 6-sided polygon, which would be a hexagon. And lastly, it says we're going to draw an ellipse with a point. Now, we do have to make some changes because the web version of AutoCAD does not have these points. All right, it doesn't have the little plus sign. It does have a point, which is just a dot, and so we're going to do little dots instead. But we're not going to be doing the little plus signs in the middle. Also, the web version has done away with the ellipse command. And so we're, instead of making an ellipse, we're going to make a pair of parallel rectangles is what we're going to do. We're going to use the rectangle command. Okay, so let's go into our drawing. Actually, let's go into the directions down here and see what they say. It says for the objective of this, we're going to draw the lines, polygons, circles, and arcs, keeping the centers and ends aligned. So what that just means is I want you to keep these lined up, the centers here lined up, and the centers here lined up. And we should center things here and here as well. Okay. Page setup, you're just going to use your title block. Function keys, we're going to have polar tracking turned on. We're going to toggle back and forth between having ortho turned on and off. We don't have snap and grid. Our O-snap settings, so endpoint, midpoint, center. Because we don't have the little plus signs, we don't have to do nodes, but we do have to have quadrant and intersection. So there's some settings that we're going to have to turn on. Again, we don't have the plus sign, so we don't have to worry about these utilities. The text height, this is important. The text height we're going to set at 1.15 for all of our labels. All right, and then we will save. So text height is 0.15. Very good. So let's go to AutoCAD. Let's go into your whatever folder you have chosen and get your title block drawing. So you start by opening up your title block, and first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on drawing number. This is going to be 2-3, check mark, and I'm immediately going to save this as drawing 2-3. So save as, I'm going to save this as 2-3. And now this should change. There we go, drawing 2-3. Okay. So if you recall, we have basically 4 quadrants that we're going to work in. And so I'm going to start up in the top right corner. I'm going to turn ortho on for the first one. And it's important to keep O track turned on because when we're drawing, let me zoom in a little closer. When we're drawing our O-snap, when we're drawing our ortho lines, kind of draw your first one, and then you're going to have to align things. You'll notice that I'm actually, I'm going to go up to about here, over, over, down, and I have to line it up with this one and pull it back, over, up, and I line it with this, over, and I line it with this. So I'm just aligning, making sure that this is aligned with this, and making sure that this, all of these are aligned and all of these are aligned. By having that polar tracking turned on and just dragging from one corner to the next, that shows you or tells you how wide to make your drawings, or how wide to make your lines. Now I'm going to turn that off. Ortho is going to be turned off. I'm going to turn polar tracking back on. This time I'm going to align here. And you know what, I'm going to turn on like, you can turn on one of your angles if you'd like, so that you know you're getting the same angle. Over from here, down to here, up to here. Down. I'm just lining up. Okay, you get the idea. So having the polar tracking turned on, polar tracking and the O tracking turned on, it allows you to get your lines evenly spaced, just like we did up here, even. Okay, and you can continue that off or over. Over here we have a circle and we have an arc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a circle over here, and size doesn't really matter on this. I'm going to draw a line over, and I'm going to use this as the center point for this arc. So when I get an arc command, it says, where's your start point? Well, what I'm going to do is I want to make sure, you remember, we have to have quadrant turned on and center turned on, intersection, midpoint, endpoint, those are all to be turned on. So what I'm going to do is when it asks for my starting point, I'm going to come down here to my quadrant. I'm going to come straight across. Then I'm going to go up to here and come back down. And it should give me, yeah, right there. Now I'm going to type in, it says second point. I'm just going to type C, enter. So it says specify your center point. All right, well, I want the end point of this line as my center point. And now notice I can go up to the top. I'm going to go even with the quadrant here, back to here. That gives me a half circle. The center points are still the same, and we're good there. Down the bottom, we've got two circles with polygons in them. So I'm going to draw my first circle. And I'm simply going to copy, so modify, copy, select object, this one, enter. Look on the center point, I'm just going to drag it straight off to the side, and then enter again. Now for my polygons, I'm going to draw. It doesn't give us a polygon command here. So if I type in P-O-L-Y, you can see polygon is right here. So I click on that. It says, how many sides do you want? How many number of sides? Well, the first one in here is going to be 5. So 5, enter. Specify the center point. So if I put my mouse right on the edge of my circle and then move it to the center, it should give me a circle right there in the middle. Okay. Now, the first one is inscribed. So I want to click on inscribed. And I'm just going to drag straight up to the top quadrant. And it should be a diamond right at the top of the circle. If you don't have that, come down here and turn on quadrant. Going back, quadrant. Good. So now that 5-sided polygon, the pentagon is perfectly tangent on the inside of that circle, inscribed. I'm going to do that again. Poly, P-O-L-Y. Here's polygon. Number of sides, this one's going to be 6. Enter. Specify the center point here. This one's going to be circumscribed. And I'm going up to the same quadrant up at the top. Now you notice that all these sides are tangent with the circle. And That one's done. The last one, because we don't have the ellipse command, I am going to, we're going to skip on the ellipse, but we are going to do a rectangle. So I'm going to get a rectangle, and I'm just going to draw a rectangle here. And I'm going to use the offset command. Offset. Click on my rectangle, and I'm just going to come in a little bit and draw an offset rectangle on the inside. Then I'm going to put in the points. Now, we don't have the little plus sign. So when I type in point, P-O-I-N-T, it will give me that little dot. I'm going to hit enter, which takes me back into the point command, and I'm going to put one here. And I don't really need one here because I won't be able to see it anyway. If it was a little plus sign, I could see it because it would be on the endpoints of the lines. But here I can see the center, but it's not a plus sign. I'm going to put one more in here, but I can't really know where the center of a square is unless I do this. Let me get a line from corner to corner. Then I'm going to type in point, P-O-I-N-T, enter, and put it at the midpoint. Then I'm going to delete out this line, and there's my center point. Okay, good. Now, you would have your lines would continue so that they're both the same length. Now let's quickly do the labels. And if I go here, label, put a window underneath here. 0.15 was the text height according to the assignment sheet. And this was, make sure you have all caps, your cap locks turned on. Lines with ortho on and off. Okay. Now, instead of doing that, that again with the text command, I'm simply going to go modify, copy this, enter, click, and just drag straight across. Enter here, enter, double click on this, and this one is going to say, I don't even remember what this says. Circle and arc with a line. We're just going to say circle and arc with lines with a line at the center. So circle and arc with a line at the center. Good. Copy. Enter. And go straight down. And this one is going to be inscribed and circumscribed polygon with points. All right. Inscribed and the last one, copy, enter, double click. This one's going to say parallel rectangles with a center point. Or you could say offset rectangles, something to indicate that that's what you did. And that's basically it. Don't forget to do a save as, or if you've already got it saved as, then just do a save, and you're finished with this drawing.